Hello and welcome to the Too Much Apparently podcast. If you're new here, this is a podcast for the deeply feeling, overthinking, emotionally overloaded humans who've been told they're too much apparently. And if you're back, thanks for choosing to sit with us again.
We're Alice and Carly, two therapists who are also just sensitive weirdos trying to make sense of life, healing, and our own brains. This isn't a professional advice podcast. It's more like the messy, honest conversations that happen when you finally feel safe enough to say what you're really thinking.
This space is for people like us, the ones who've been called too sensitive, too serious, too emotional, too intense, and have spent way too long believing that it's true.
Okay, on with the episode.
Today we're talking about that time of year when it's dark by 4, your socks are permanently damp, and the thought of doing anything after 6 p.m. feels outrageous.
When the clocks change, the temperature drops, and suddenly your entire personality becomes about hot drinks, thick blankets, and avoiding the outside world.
We're calling this episode Too Cozy to Care because honestly, the motivation's gone, the daylight's gone, and maybe that's not a problem to fix.
We want to explore how to move with the season instead of fighting it, giving ourselves permission to slow down, switch off, and stay soft while the world goes cold and grey.
So I was so excited for this episode because I finally let go of clinging on to summer and I'm fully in cozy autumnness.
Yeah, when I saw that you'd picked this one for our next episode, I was like, oh, yay, because the last few episodes have been a bit more heavier. And this one it felt like a cozy episode to do. I was like, oh, this just feels like it's just going to be a nice episode. And actually, as we're here talking about it, I've got my blanket on, I've got a hoodie on, and I've got a heated seat on behind me. So I'm fully in cozy vibes.
That sounds so cozy. I'm so jealous of your heated seat. I know you have it when I come round and I'm like, oh, I want a heated seat blanket. I've got a heated bed blanket, but I'm getting granny vibes again.
Oh,
Oh dear.
well, it's quite granny to just have a little blanket on your lap.
Yeah.
How do you usually feel at this time of year when September turns into October, the leaves start changing colour and dropping off and it starts to get darker? How do you feel about this time of year?
Yeah. So I'm a winter baby. And until a few years ago, winter was my favourite season. So I would love the shift into autumn and winter. I am an absolute Christmas nut. And there's an online organizational thing about Christmas. I think it's called like organizing Christmas or something like that. And it is a 12-week. So that's like a 3-month Christmas preparation guide with tasks to do week to week to week. So when it hits the last week of August, I'm like, right, this is it. The holiday grand plan is in, off we go. But then a couple of years ago, I realized that I was really clinging on to summer. And I was like, oh, I'm not ready for summer to go yet. So it's a bit of a different shift for me now. So what is it? The 9th of October today. And I'm only the last couple of days in autumn in my mind. But
The last couple of days of autumn.
I'm in only the last couple of days that I've accepted that we're in autumn.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were like, autumn's done. I'm like, it's not done yet.
No, I finally dug my hoodies out of the cupboard and got my cardigans back out, and I'm wearing long sleeves today instead of my stripy t-shirt. I need to invest in a long sleeve version of my stripy t-shirt. Yeah, it's a few years ago now. So I feel like hibernating has become a thing on social media. I see it a lot. I saw a great video on TikTok the other day about splitting autumn and winter into 4 sections and having a focus for each of the 4 sections to be able to kind of cope through till the light starts returning in the spring. But before it became a thing, I was already into what I call hibernating. And so have a little hibernation plan that I shift into. But yeah, normally I'm well into it by now. So yeah, like I said, there's the holiday grand plan. There's Gilmore Girls goes back on in September. That's a real
Gilmore Girls.
a real cozy autumn winter show. I'm sure there's other things as well, but like Christmas films, I'm normally into all the Christmas films, especially the rubbish Christmas films. Yeah, I can't remember quite what you asked me now. But yeah,
You
hibernation,
answered.
I love it. Yeah.
Oh, this feels far too early for me to be thinking about Christmas. The idea of starting like this 3-month grand Christmas plan. To me, that just feels like I almost get panicked thinking about that much amount of organization and preparation. And I'm sure it's just a bit that you do each week or something, prepare. But no, I need Christmas to be contained in December. December the 1st, Christmas. But before that, especially because my birthday is November the 28th,
Yeah.
so it can't be Christmas till my birthday. I'm not blending my birthday into Christmas. So
Mhm.
my birthday needs to be done and then it's Christmas. But hibernating, likewise, has been a thing for me for years before it became a bit of a popular thing to start to talk about doing. I've always naturally felt the pull to hibernate. It feels like my body is evolutionary, biologically doing its thing.
Yeah.
And so it's a very much a felt sense in my body. But from a season perspective, I mean, you said that traditionally you're like a winter gal. I've always been a summer gal. So I've always loved it when it's bright, loved it when it's the long days, loved it when it's warm. I'm such a cold person. I'm always cold. Even in the summer, I get cold. People are there in shorts and t shirts, and I'm still there in a jumper. Like, it's not that warm, guys, but it is to everyone else. So I'm such a cold person that I just love it when it starts to get warm. I love it when it's light. I love the long days. But interestingly, I have felt that start to shift a bit more the past couple of years. Usually, this time of year, I would be really mourning the loss of summer, almost have like a mini grieving period for the fact that, no, why is it over again? But the past 2 years, I feel like I've kind of, I've not like said, come on in, but I've welcomed it in more. And that's because there is a lot about this time of year that I really love and enjoy. Yes, there's the parts of this time of year, well, more when we're getting towards November, December time that I don't like, where it is dark all the time. Like, I don't like that. My mental health gets affected by the seasons. And so there's a lot about winter that I don't like. So I would say I'm not a winter person. I like
Mhm.
snow and I like being cozy,
Mhm.
but especially in this country, we don't really get a proper winter either.
Mhm.
So if we had what to me would feel like a proper winter, where you have like blue sky and snow
Yeah.
and it's cold and cozy, I could get
Mhm.
on board if we had like a proper winter because I
Mhm.
do quite like that. But because our winter is just like slushy and grizzly and grey and rainy and windy, there's
Mm.
just nothing about that that I find pleasurable. So I'm not a winter person here in the UK. I don't like how the dark nights affect my mental well-being,
Yeah.
but I love the hibernating part.
Mm.
I feel like I'm trying to embrace more of the hibernating part. And for the past couple of years, I've really been trying to figure out how to not just, it's a bit like you said with that 4-part thing you saw on social media. I'm also trying to have less of a focus on how to get through till it starts to be spring and light again, because otherwise you're just wishing your life away until it gets brighter and warmer. And one of the things that's helped me with that is to embrace the hibernation part and to lean into what that brings so that then the idea of starting to approach winter doesn't fill me with dread.
Yeah, yeah. I think I have similar kinds of feelings. So I think again I'm having a kind of split response to it because I think I am, or I feel like I've shifted a little bit, like I say, the last couple of days, but certainly September has felt like a morning again of summer of like, oh, I was enjoying that so much. Why does it have to end? And particularly the light nights. And it really annoys me that as women, it's so much harder to go out into the dark at night,
Mm,
that I
yeah,
just wouldn't feel comfortable going for a stroll around the park in the dark, and just feels like I lose hours then of my life in the winter, that I
yeah.
really don't enjoy that. But yeah, the whole hibernation thing for me started out of necessity. That I think it actually started as a note on my phone called survival plan, and I just made a list of all the things that would help me to feel supported and, yeah, cozy when I was going through a harder time, which tended to be through the darker months. I think there's still a split in my mind where kind of so September up till probably my birthday, which is at the beginning of January, feels cozy and warm and sparkly and festive.
Yes.
And then kind of mid-January, really into February and kind of the beginning of March just feels so bleak. Like the leaves have gone, it's cloudy, it's usually even colder than it's been up until that point. That's the part that I really find, yes, there's some real drudgery in that.
So I was exactly the same. And
Yeah.
this has only changed in the past 2 years when
Mm.
all the festive part is over. And then it's January, February, like, just totally felt everything that you just said. But one thing that's really helped me is I started to pay a lot more attention to the solstices. So the summer solstice and the winter solstice.
Mhm.
Solstice. I feel like I said that really weird then. Solstice. So last year, especially, I watched the winter solstice on. You can live stream the solstice events at Stonehenge. You can just watch where the sun is appearing and marking that because I think January, February, it can all just feel really dark and bleak. And it's so easy to forget that the shortest day has already occurred by that point. The shortest day is in December. And so January and February aren't dark and bleak. January and February are the light is coming back.
Mm.
And so by really just trying to tune into what that means, that winter solstice date, I could then start to say to myself, no, the light is coming back. And
Mm.
I have a smart speaker that helps to wake me up in the morning. And I've set a routine. So it tells me certain things when my alarm goes off. And one of them is the sunrise and sunset.
Right.
And I turned that on in winter because then every single time that it reads the sunrise and sunset times, I can hear each day that the day is getting longer and longer
Okay.
and longer, even though it's just 5 minutes to start with.
Mm.
But suddenly I'm like, oh, the sun's not setting till this time now. And a few weeks later, oh, right, now the sun's not setting till this time. It's really helped me to keep the focus on actually that being a hopeful time. The light is on its way back.
Mhm.
Yeah, that shift, that really helped me last year.
Yeah. So I did a post on social media a couple of years ago about sunset. I think it was sunset times rather than sunrise. And it was a text message that I'd sent to my sister. And I sent, today's the 1st of February and the sun will set at this time. By the end of the month, it will be this. By the end of March, it will be this. And, you could really see it kind of moving on. And March is brilliant because we get the clock change. So there's a big jump in March. So yeah, I absolutely do find that helpful. Do you turn it off though when it's getting dark? Like like I'm wondering, like this, like when you wake up in yeah, in October, is it like sort of getting shorter and shorter every day and having the opposite effect?
No, because when I decided to do this,
Yeah.
I tried to make both of them positive. So when it's the
Mm.
summer solstice and it's the longest day and it's going to start getting darker, instead of focusing on, oh, now it's getting darker, then the
Yeah.
focus can be on, oh, really appreciate the light that you've got each day.
Okay.
It'd be so easy to view one as good and one as bad.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I thought, no, the winter one can be about hope for the light that's coming back, and the summer
Yeah.
one can be about be really grateful and recognize the light that you have as it
Yeah.
starts to go away.
Oh, I like that.
So,
That's a nice balance.
yeah, so I've tried
Yeah.
to focus it like that.
Yeah. So I had this note on my phone that's kind of started as a survival list. And then I have listened to so many YouTube videos about how to pronounce this, not for this episode, but in the past. But I got some books for Christmas, must have been 2017, I think, maybe 2018, about Hygge.
Oh, yes, yes.
I'm sure if there are any Danish listeners, they can critique my pronunciation there.
Yeah, because you spell it Hygge.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I used to pronounce it as Huggy.
Well, I like that though, because it's like, it's like a hug, like cozy.
Yes,
Yeah, that's kind of how it
nice.
feels in my mind. Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, it's a Danish concept which is about being cozy and focusing on well-being, coming from finding different ways to create a warm atmosphere and just enjoying simple pleasures, maybe with good company, maybe by yourself. But yeah.
Yes, it's kind of about those quieter pleasures
Mm.
that you share with close friends, like sharing meals, celebrating small joys. But I know there's not one word that it kind of encompasses, but it kind of makes me think of coziness and contentedness in the quiet, small things.
I think for me, it also has an edge of whimsy to it.
Oh, okay. I just love whimsy in general.
Yeah.
Anything whimsical.
Yeah. Yeah. So like candles and blankets and fairy lights and yeah.
So this was on your survival plan.
It's kind of grown. So it started off being just a note on my phone about a survival plan, and then I read about Hygge, and then yeah, I think it's kind of grown from there. I guess as there's been more awareness about it and more people talking about it and writing about it and things like that. I'm thinking about oh, what's the name? That book, Wintering.
Oh, I've still not read that.
She's autistic. What's her name? By Catherine May. It's a really good book. So I think when I read that book was a bit of a turning point for me. So even though I was already doing some of the things and had really recognized that I needed to have this rhythm through the different seasons, I think I was still holding some shame about it and feeling like I wasn't able to do as much as everyone else, or that it was just that I just convinced myself that it was something and really I was just being lazy. But what that book really did for me was point out that actually it's normal to live in these rhythms, and not just normal but healthy. Like it's healthy to have these different rhythms, to be aware of the changing seasons on our moods and our energy levels, and just being more aware of what we need in different times.
Yes, I relate to that because historically, I feel like there's been a pressure to still be able to go out when it's dark, still be sociable, still be doing lots of activities and things like that. And knowing that there are other people that still like maintain making the most of their evenings and feeling like, again, that's what I should be doing too.
Mm,
But actually, I've come to realize that I like hibernating and
mm,
I feel like it can be okay that spring and summer is a time that I get out and I do more. And then autumn, winter is when I hibernate and I do less. And that also, I then need that so that I can then be out more in the spring and the summer because I can't keep up that level of constant doing and activities and socializing. It can provide a nice balance. So I can think of the summer as being times to really be getting out, doing some really nice walks, seeing friends, being outside. It feels like you have a lot more time in the evening when it's lighter. So I have more energy to do things of an evening. Whereas due to the darkness, it feels like there's less time
yeah.
in an evening. Obviously, the time is actually the same, but that's not how it feels. And so when then someone wants to do something of an evening in the winter, I'm a bit like, there's no time. There is, but it feels like there's no time. But I just like to create a shift. So in the summer, I will get out and meet friends and we will do something out. Whereas in the winter, we're more likely to go around each other's houses for a cuppa and sometimes in our pajamas, where we'll drive in our pajamas to someone's house and we'll just be cozy in our pajamas. We'll have a cuppa and a catch up and then we'll go. So it's still seeing people and doing the socializing, but it's just in a different way that feels nicer.
Yeah, yeah. I really love that, driving to each other's houses in your pajamas. That just sounds so cozy. I really love
Yeah.
that. I really
Well,
love
it's
that.
dark, so people can't, as
Yeah.
long as you don't break down, people
Yeah.
people don't know that you're driving in your dressing gown and in your
Yeah.
pajamas.
Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, I wanna come in my pajamas tomorrow," but I'm going off to a hotel afterwards, so that's not gonna work out. I'm not gonna.
Oh, you could have done otherwise.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll have to do it one time.
Yeah, yeah. But I really like what you said before about it not being like getting through, because I don't see it that way. I think it maybe started from a position of how am I gonna get through to this time? Like,
Yeah.
how am I gonna claw my way through? But what feels important for me now is how can I make it enjoyable and something to embrace and make the most of? Because as much as we kind of touched on a bit in our introduction there about it being cold and wet and dark and miserable and all of that, that actually there are some really lovely things about winter. Now my brain's just gone completely blank about what those lovely things are. Um, well,
Yeah,
I think kind of how I said before that the first half of autumn and winter, so autumn and the first half of winter, I find easier because there are. I don't drink pumpkin spice lattes, but I know they're popular. But I like yeah, even though I don't drink them, there's something just I think do you know what? I think there's something even just in the rhythm of the marketing there, which I'm not sure I'm entirely comfortable with, but just like, oh, yeah, we're back to kind of pumpkin themed foods and maple whatever and yeah, that there's something kind of predictable and soothing about that. And then, like I said before, I love Christmas. I love the festivities. I love all the decorations and the lights and all of that. And I like what you said about focusing on the return of the light after the equinox. So what I tried to do last year, but didn't actually manage to do very well, was to think about the not just the equinoxes, but also in my mind, they're like Wiccan days, but that's from teenage witchy phase.
yes.
I'm sure they've got proper names. What are
Like
they
the more
called?
like the pagan
Pagan, that's it. Yeah.
element to it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's one every kind of 6 to 8 weeks, which I feel like breaks the time down quite nicely. Yeah, I think having rituals is missing a lot from modern life. I think having
Yeah.
rituals is really important for us as humans, and I think having those kind of I guess as people have come away from religion as I don't know what the attendance stats are these days, but I assume a lot less people go to church than they did before, that we've come away from celebrating the perhaps smaller festivals. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about like when you were a kid, you'd always do harvest festival at school and stuff like that.
And also how we've come away from, I mean, I don't want to get on this too much, but a lot of religious holidays and celebrations have been adapted from things that weren't about religion and were about other things. And so then it means that we've lost that. So traditionally, there would be big celebrations around the equinoxes, and it wasn't religious in its doctrine at all, but about the celebration of the way things are on this
Mhm.
planet and the recognition of that. And so those kinds of rituals of marking the passage of time and the way in which communities would all gather together to do that
Yeah.
has been lost. And I think that's what drew me more, wanting to honor and recognize
Mm.
the solstices in some way.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And as you're talking about that, I'm kind of thinking almost as like as nature as religion in some way. And I'm not entirely sure what I
Yeah.
mean by that, but I think there's something important there that I want to explore a bit more. Yeah.
That there is something definitely that can be very spiritual about being connected with the earth and
Yeah.
nature and the planet and the way things are, and also how much we forget that our own body is connected to and very much tuned into
Hmm.
those things.
Yeah.
And that is why we notice these changes in
Mm.
our energy levels, in what we're drawn to be doing, in the types of foods that we're drawn to eating. I can't say, oh, I love a salad personally. But when it gets to summertime, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I would really like a salad, but I'm not a salad person. But something about summer then
Mhm.
just makes me feel like I want that lighter meal
Yeah.
and I just feel drawn to a salad. And there's a reason that when it starts to get into autumn and winter, that I'm craving really wholesome baked foods that I just want to then eat all the time.
Yeah.
So there are so many just natural shifts and changes that just happen within our own
Hmm.
body and the things that we're being pulled to, drawn to, the things that we fancy
Yeah.
that are just naturally just tied into
Yeah.
those sort of workings of the world. I think we spend so long trying to fight against that because modern life doesn't allow for that.
Yeah.
We're talking about hibernating and how much we both like to embrace the idea of hibernating. But what we're really talking about is getting elements of hibernation because we can't actually hibernate. I don't
Sleep
mean
for
that
6 months.
I don't mean that literally. Modern life doesn't stop. We still have to go to work. Our working day is still the same amount of time. Our commutes are still the same amount of time. Like nothing
Mhm.
else changes
Mhm.
except for what do we now do with our free time?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that makes it hard because it means that we haven't constructed society in a way that follows the natural rhythm of
Hmm.
our planet. So we're then constantly left battling, still trying to have the same level of productivity that we do in the spring and summer, still use our evenings in the same way, still use
Hmm.
our weekends in the same way. That battle is, or certainly for me anyway, was part of the issue rather than just trying to embrace how I need to be spending my time during the different seasons.
Yeah. I think some of that awareness about productivity has been part of a big shift for me. So I used to work 3 evenings a week, if not 4. So I would see clients at 6, 7:15 and 8:30.
Oh,
So I would
8:30.
work till 9:30, and in the summer it was fine.
Mm,
But in the winter I was really feeling like I'm tired. I'm tired, and I didn't want to feel that way, and I didn't want to turn up to sessions that way. So I gradually stopped doing that. And because of starting my masters and moving things around, I've actually put some evening slots back in. And I went to do one the other day and I was like, I think I need to take that back out. And now I'm just in this period of like, oh, I don't know. I think at the moment I've got it blocked out on my calendar of like, oh, I don't know if I am going to offer that or not. Maybe I'll kind of hold it as a last resort of, yeah, just being really mindful about making decisions in summer that I have to live with in the winter because I
yes.
don't have the same level of energy throughout winter. I'm not able to be as productive throughout winter. I need to be much more careful with my energy. um, I think even and I don't know if this is an age thing or just an awareness thing or what, but I think back to when I was younger, I just don't think I really paid that much attention to it getting dark or, you get the annual like, "Oh, it's so dark at this," and I'm doing it this year already, like, "Oh, it's only 6:30. How's it dark already?" But so now I feel like my body is so aware of the change in light level and that actually when it starts to get dark, I'm ready for bed.
Yeah.
I'm ready for settling down in bed. And once I've done what I need to do, I will just get in bed and read or watch TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's what my body needs.
Yeah.
And I'm tipping back into last episode now about, "Oh, that's a bit boring." But it's the reality, it's the reality of it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like once I finished work, I just then like to put my pajamas on.
Yeah.
Again, pajamas just represent that coziness, that winding down. I think it's why it's nice that, like I said earlier, our friends will visit one another in our pajamas. It's just a recognition of that slowing down, of that need to be cozier, and that we can still do things. But
Mm.
sometimes we just need to adjust the way we're doing them. And other things we might decide to not do over the wintry period, just the same as there might be things that we decide to not do in the summer. I wonder just how much of this some sort of like resistance to the shifting of the seasons and then what that usually means for the way
Mm.
in which we feel. And I feel like the degree to which people feel that is different.
Mhm.
So I'm going to say it affects everybody. And then there's a little part of me that's like, you don't know that, but I would have thought that this is something that affects everybody, but it will affect people to a different degree in terms of then perhaps how much you feel that slowing down within your own body, having less social energy, feeling like you want to like nest more. And some people will find it easier to still go out in the evenings and still be social or still be doing that run in the dark. I think there will be some people that can do that. But I think as a whole, most people would agree that the change in seasons impacts them in some way.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm wondering if you had a hibernation kit, like hibernation in a box, what would you have in your box?
I love that question. Just the question is so cozy.
Yeah.
In my hibernation box, I would have
Mhm.
a large mug with a selection of hot drinks. I would have a blanket, probably a heated blanket.
Mhm.
I would have slippers, fluffy socks, pajamas, some sort of crafting kit,
What are you crafting at the moment?
a pillow.
Is that the same one you showed me when I was there last time?
Yes, I actually
Yes.
finished it last night. But as we were recording this, the door went, and I think that's another one that's arrived for me to
Yeah.
start another one that's got pumpkins on it.
Ooh.
Yeah, and some sort of crafting thing because my hibernation time is when I get creative. I might build a Lego set. I'll be creating something. I made these clay pumpkins and then I'm painting those. I just need to finish putting the glaze on those and then I'll have them out. Yeah, that will be ultimately what would be in my kit. And I'm going to ask you what in yours. I imagine there'll be quite a few similar things, but what would you put in your hibernation box?
So I've actually got a mind map on my phone. I tried to find the original sheet that I did,
Oh, really?
but I must have done, I think I did it a couple of years ago. And I was like, right, hibernation, what is it gonna be? So yeah, cozy blankets, fairy lights I've mentioned, but fairy lights are essential for me. I do not wait until Christmas for fairy lights. I love them to come out as soon as they can. Comfort food, mashed potato,
Oh,
casseroles,
yeah.
pies, that kind of thing. Yeah. See, I do love a salad, but not in winter. No.
I love mashed potato.
Same. Low effort TV. So this is kind of a year-round thing for me. I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast before, but I don't do high stress television. I do not watch true crime documentaries. I just, yeah, things that are nice and easy. So things like Gilmore Girls. And it's probably why I like soaps so much as well. Like they're just, yeah, predictable and you know
They're
what you're
not
going to
nice and
get.
easy. They're just constant drama. It's just drama, drama, drama.
It is, but there's also the familiarity and the consistency and all of that. So
Yeah,
it counts for me. Yeah, kind of, yeah, whatever explosion is going off in Emmerdale is about as stressful as I can manage, especially
right.
in winter. I would probably have my walking boots in there
Yeah.
because even though that's not hibernating in the sense of hunkering down in my house and being cozy in that way, I love going for walks in winter and just noticing the change in seasons, wrapping up warm, having like a I don't like hats, but I like, like the knitted headbands.
Oh, yeah.
So wear those and a scarf and gloves and, maybe having a hot chocolate or something on your walk and being cozy that way, but still getting out and getting some fresh air. So I'd probably have those.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
You're coming up
and
with some great ones.
and scented candles. I know you're not, I know you're a bit kind of about scented things, but I love having a seasonal scented candle. So what have I got at the moment? I've got one that's just called Autumn Glow, which doesn't really tell you what it smells like, but it's orange colored, so you can maybe guess what it smells like just from that. And then I've got National Trust do brilliant candles, and I've got one at the moment it's got the candle in the middle that smells of like fir or like pine trees or something. And then around the outside, it's got like clear gel with like things in it, like just like little wintry decorations. And then downstairs, I've got a summery one. So just again, just that kind of change in the scents. And I've got a really nice winter one that's like kind of cinnamon and orange and, smells very Christmassy. That there's, yeah, just the sense of the seasons feels really important
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. I like whether it's candles or other decor, I think it's nice to have a small amount of decor because I don't like clutter, but a small amount of decor that represents the season that you're in.
Yes.
So I've got a plushy pumpkin that goes down. I've made those clay pumpkins that I'll put out. And I've got a pumpkin themed wreath that I've put on my outside bathroom door. And I feel like it's quite nice marking the change in seasons by I keep saying seasons. But yeah, I think it's nice marking the change in seasons by having just little objects out. And
Yeah.
that can also just then be a nice thing to look forward to, like, oh, I get to get those objects out, or oh, I get to put the little fairy lights up. They
Mhm.
can be nice things to look forward to. And there was, yeah, everything that you were saying in your kit. I was like, oh, yeah, put that in mine. Oh, yeah, I'll put that in mine. Oh, yeah, I like that too. And definitely with the walking boots because it's muddier. So you need the walking boots and the being cozy and the hot chocolate on the walk. I love
Yeah.
all of that. And the crunch of the leaves underneath, like your feet. And
Mhm.
it's just really, really just trying to hone in on and take notice.
Mhm.
I think be more it's about being present ultimately in the time and season that you're in and finding joy in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think finding ways to make it work for you. So you mentioned that I've moved away. Now live near Manchester, so it's very, very rainy up here. So like my walking boots that I have that I asked for them for my birthday, I think a couple of years ago, and they're a really nice pair of walking boots. So I love putting them on and yeah, just having a nice things to wear and so it's not just about going out into the cold and wet. It's also like, oh, okay, I might be going out into the cold and wet, but I've got my coat, I've got my scarf that I love and things like that. I really want to encourage people that are listening to tell us what would be in their hibernation kits as well. I would really love to have more ideas.
Yeah, yeah,
For
good to
doing this.
be good just to put more ideas out there for people,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it could look like very different things for
yeah,
different people.
yeah. And I really love about the crafting element because one of the things that I do struggle with is the over commercialization, which I think we've really seen with autumn. Like as soon as like the back to school bits out the way, it's autumn everything everywhere. And I love it, and they're so cute, and I love them so much, but I don't wanna spend loads of money on it, but I love the idea of crafting things. Like, painting your little clay pumpkins, and I can't remember what the word is for what you do with your cushions.
Oh, latch hooking.
Latch hooking, yeah, so, like, latch hooking the cushions with an autumn thing, like, that feels like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's a nice way to go about it." I like that.
Yeah, I made this little moss coaster. If you're watching the video podcast on
Oh,
YouTube, you can see my little moss coaster, which is really fluffy and just nice to feel. And I've ordered a couple more to do
okay.
because I love getting crafty and I love creating things, but I'm very much prone to perfectionism and perfectionism sucking the joy out of things. Whereas I know it's more money, but if I buy kits, if it's something that you're just following the instructions on, then you can't really get too caught up in perfectionism. Like you can a bit, but for me, nowhere near the same as if I'm making something from scratch. So the clay pumpkins that I made from scratch, like perfectionism made that last significantly longer than it should have done. And even so, one of the pumpkins I did too heavy and it's kind of squashed a little bit. But when it's some sort of kit or craft, and especially with like the latch hooking the pillow, you don't have to put much thought into it. And you can do it at the same time as watching TV or a film. And it's repetitive. So it just feels quite therapeutic. So you don't have to be a creative person or you don't have to be particularly good at arts and crafts. There are so many different things out there where you just have to follow the instructions
Mhm.
and a low effort, but then feel really nice when you finished and you see like the fruits of your labor to be like, oh wow, that looks really nice. And my cushion that I finished, which I've now put on a little chair that I have in my kitchen dining room, it looks
Mhm.
really, really nice.
I'm excited to see it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'll show you. I feel like everything we've spoken about so far really shows how much we have really worked on this and tried to embrace the change in seasons and allowed ourselves also to slow down and do less and get cozy and I'm just wondering about the people who are listening who maybe are struggling that, who maybe feel like slowing down or being cozy means that you're being lazy or not being productive, or slowing down means failing in some way, and what it might be like for those who are struggling to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is really hard. And I think for me it comes back to that I'm not a machine. I'm not a robot. I can't be on all the time as much as I wish I could because when I'm really like in a place of high energy, I can do so much and it feels great, but I can't sustain it. And so yeah, I think it is about that and that is a difficult thing to have to come to recognize that it's not sustainable. So again, I think like other things we've talked about, it's come from necessity, um, moving out of that. And lots of compassion, like always, lots of compassion for the struggle and knowing that it's okay. Like nothing bad is gonna happen if you let yourself give in to the rhythm of the seasons. Yeah. What would
Yeah.
you say?
I do think it's hard because there are things that I've tried to do during the wintry months that I've had to stop. And I felt bad, like there is something wrong with me for not being able to when other people can, because like I said before, not everybody feels that pull to hibernate as much as other people and can be more out there or doing more things. And I remember a few years ago, I've wanted to do amateur theatre for ages. And I actually joined a local amateur theatre group and I got given a role in the play and I started to go to rehearsals. But this was like during, as it was getting darker. And then rehearsals were like 2 evenings a week. And then as it was getting closer, it was sometimes at the weekends. And it just reached a point where I was just getting more and more overwhelmed and not wanting to go. And don't get me wrong, there were several factors that made me want to stop and not do it anymore. But I also know like a big part of it was just getting out in the evenings and especially twice a week and being there till late and then having work the next day. And it still baffles me how other people can do that, but I can't. Or I find that very difficult and it means other things suffer and then have an impact on my health and well-being. But it's very easy to then go down the route of, oh, I'm not as good as, or they can do it. Like, why can't I do it? So I do think it is really hard. Sometimes, again, it comes back to wanting to be able to be different and then having to come back to, but I'm not like that. That's not how I operate. And that doesn't mean that I am less than or not as capable or not as productive. It's just I am different. My body is different. The way my body responds to what's going on in the world and what time of year it is different. And so, yeah, that's just not going to be me. And so I imagine that there are quite a lot of people listening that have certain messages around what it means to slow down or do less or quit that thing or stop doing that thing because it's too hard this time of year and maybe feeling like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? And comparing yourself. But it's just never helpful. We are who we are. And yeah, sometimes there are things, if they're really important to us, that we might want to try and find a way to continue. Like for me, I have a very on and off relationship with exercise due to my health issues and going to exercise classes. But after recently having had to stop for a couple of months, I'm starting to try and go again. But I'm starting to now try and go again as it's getting darker. And it's
Mm.
like, oh no, this is going to be so hard. But that's also something that I want to try and do and I want to try and maintain. So I will try to,
Mhm.
but it's also okay if it gets difficult. And
Yeah.
I think it's recognizing the difference between I don't have any energy for this. This is not something I want to be doing with my evening. I would prefer to be spending it like this.
Yeah.
Or this is a thing I want to do and I feel better once I've done it. I've just got to get over the hump of being like, I don't want to go out. I don't want to go out. I don't want to go out.
Yeah. 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 And as you're saying that, I'm wondering about different ways that you or other people in that kind of situation, yeah, kind of like how I was saying about like with my walking boots, like I've got a pair that I love and that, that makes it easier to put them on to go out. I wonder what little things other people could think about. And that's not, I don't have any answers in my head as I'm asking the question. But I wonder what things might make it easier to get out and do that, whether that's, being able to have some kind of reward afterwards or knowing what you're coming home to afterwards or really focusing on that feeling of how you'll feel when you've gone out and done the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and trying to not do then two things in a row if you know you find it hard to get out. So you're thinking, okay, I'm out today, but oh, tomorrow night, oh, I can do this. And
Yeah.
much we're wrestling with ourselves in our own mind and trying to bargain with ourselves. I often feel like there's a courtroom in my head, and on the stand is whether or not I'm going to go to the 7 p.m. exercise class tonight. And I've got Well, I don't know which would be the prosecutor or which would be the defense, but anyway, one of them is excellent at their job and can win quite often.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna go. I'm very good at convincing myself to not do the thing. A friend actually once said to me, the moment you start to try to bargain with yourself, you've already lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I try to not even start to get into, well, could I
Mm.
not go? Like I try to just shut that down.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah.
Because the moment I entertain it, I'm going to tell myself it's a good idea to not go.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've ever been called lazy, unmotivated, or not yourself this time of year, you're not failing, you're adapting.
This week, notice one small way you could make life softer: a slower morning, a gentler plan, an unapologetic early night.
Next time, we're going back to where this all started. Too late to find out. That moment of realizing you might actually be neurodivergent, and the mix of relief and grief that comes with a late diagnosis or realization. The, oh, that explains everything moment. We're unpacking what it's like to meet yourself later in life, make peace with missed chances, and discover it's never actually too late to understand who you are.
But for now, we'll leave you with this. What would change if you allowed yourself to slow down and just let yourself be cozy?
That's all from us today. If this episode made you feel a bit less alone, the best way to help us reach more people is to subscribe, rate the podcast, and follow Too Much Apparently on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Those simple clicks help other sensitive humans find us when they need it most. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon.